Character is like a tree and reputation like a shadow. The shadow is what we think of it, the tree is the real thing. You can fool all the people some of the time, and some of the people all the time, but you cannot fool all the people all the time. Sir, my concern is not whether God is on our side. My greatest concern is to be on God's side, for God is always right. Most folks are about as happy as they make their minds up to be. Love is the chain to lock a child to its parent. Common-looking people are the best in the world, that is the reason the Lord makes so many of them. He has a right to criticize, who has a heart to help. A farce or comedy is best played, a tragedy is best read at home. Upon the subject of education, not presuming to dictate any plan or system respecting it, I can only say that I view it as the most important subject which we as a people can be engaged in. For people who like that kind of a book, that is the kind of book they will like. You can fool some of the people all of the time, and all of the people some of the time, but you cannot fool all of the people all of the time. You cannot escape the responsibility of tomorrow by evading it today. Better to remain silent and be thought a fool than to speak out and remove all doubt. Leave nothing for tomorrow which can be done today. No man has a good enough memory to be a successful liar. Human action can be modified to some extent, but human nature cannot be changed. Adhere to your purpose and you will soon feel as well as you ever did. On the contrary, if you falter, and give up, you will lose the power of keeping any resolution, and will regret it all your life. We can complain because rose bushes have thorns, or rejoice because thorn bushes have roses. Every man's happiness is his own responsibility. Nearly all men can stand adversity, but if you want to test a man's character, give him power. I would rather be a little nobody, than to be an evil somebody. I have been driven many times upon my knees by the overwhelming conviction that I had nowhere else to go. My own wisdom and that of all about me seemed insufficient for that day. Always bear in mind that your own resolution to success is more important than any other thing. I happen temporarily to occupy this big White House. I am living witness that any one of your children may look to come here as my father's child has. The greatest fine art of the future will be the making of a comfortable living from a small piece of land. Human nature will not change. In any future great national trial, compared with the men of this, we shall have as weak and as strong, as silly and as wise, as bad and as good. Let every American, every lover of liberty, every well-wisher to his posterity, swear by the blood of the Revolution, never to violate in the least particular, the laws of the country, and never to tolerate their violation by others. I know not how to aid you, save in the assurance of one of mature age, and much severe experience, that you cannot fail, if you resolutely determine, that you will not. I have not permitted myself, gentlemen, to conclude that I am the best man in the country, but I am reminded, in this connection, of a story of an old Dutch farmer who remarked to a companion once that it was not best to swap horses while crossing streams. I have stepped out upon this platform that I may see you and that you may see me, and in the arrangement I have the best of the bargain. This is a world of compensations, and he who would be no slave, must consent to have no slave. Those who deny freedom to others, deserve it not for themselves, and, under a just God, cannot long retain it. As I would not be a slave, so I would not be a master. This expresses my idea of democracy. In giving freedom to the slave, we assure freedom to the free, honorable alike in what we give, and what we preserve. We shall nobly save, or meanly lose, the last best hope of earth. I am not bound to win, but I am bound to be true. I am not bound to succeed, but I am bound to live by the light that I have. I must stand with anybody that stands right, and stand with him while he is right, and part with him when he goes wrong. And having thus chosen our course, without guile, and with pure purpose, let us renew our trust in God, and go forward without fear, and with manly hearts. You think slavery is right and should be extended, while we think slavery is wrong and ought to be restricted. That, I suppose, is the rub. It certainly is the only substantial difference between us. All I ask for the Negro is that if you do not like him, let him alone. If God gave him but little, that little let him enjoy. I leave you, hoping that the lamp of liberty will burn in your bosoms until there shall no longer be a doubt that all men are created free and equal. No man is good enough to govern another man, without that other's consent. I say this is the leading principle, the sheet anchor of American republicanism. It may seem strange that any men should dare to ask a just God's assistance in wringing their bread from the sweat of other men's faces, but let us judge not that we be not judged. The prayers of both could not be answered, that of neither has been answered fully. The Almighty has His own purposes. Surely God would not have created such a being as man, with an ability to grasp the infinite, to exist only for a day. No, no, man was made for immortality. I have never studied the art of paying compliments to women, but I must say that if all that has been said by orators and poets since the creation of the world in praise of women were applied to the women of America, it would not do them justice for their conduct during this war. I will close by saying, God bless the women of America. In regard to this great book, I have but to say, it is the best gift God has given to man. All the good the Savior gave to the world was communicated through this book. The will of God prevails. In great contests each party claims to act in accordance with the will of God. Both may be, and one must be, wrong. God cannot be for and against the same thing at the same time. In the present civil war it is quite possible that God's purpose is something different from the purpose of either party, and yet the human instrumentalities, working just as they do, are of the best adaptation to effect His purpose. The United States government must not undertake to run the churches. When an individual, in the church or out of it, becomes dangerous to the public interest, he must be checked. Any people anywhere, being inclined and having the power, have the right to rise up, and shake off the existing government, and form a new one that suits them better. This is a most valuable, a most sacred right, a right, which we hope and believe, is to liberate the world.